Hi. If you like spending an obscene amount of time on a project just to save mere pennies, you're gonna love today's episode. We're good. Welcome to Laugh Cry DIY, the show where I avoid my problems by doing obnoxiously complicated projects. Today we are making a side table, patio table, little garden table, side table that may or may not be going in a future episode. So I was actually originally inspired because I've seen a lot of sort of pedestal style tables. They look really cute, especially when they have a cool pattern. So here's my idea to dupe it with a lot cheaper materials. I was recently at church, AKA the 99-cent store, and I stumbled upon these 2 waste bins, which are just straight out of the 2000s. I would have died for this in my room between the ages of 6 and 22. What I liked about them is their size and their price, $2 each. They had the perfect shape to create the base for a table I've had floating around in my mind. But what was I gonna use for a tabletop? The price of lumber is like more expensive than Beyonce tickets right now. So what I did find also at the dollar store was this, again, nightmare object. So this is one of these kind of like photo holder things. You guys know how I feel about happy families and inspirational quotes, and if you don't, you do now. It was $5, which is basically highway robbery at the 99-cent store. But I figured it would save me having to cut out a piece of plywood, buy plywood, all that stuff. So here's my idea to build this and make it structurally sound. We're gonna have a base. However, okay, so I think, okay, this is complicated. Okay, this is easy. We're gonna have a base. However, if you can see, there is a little bit of a lip on these trash cans, so you can't perfectly glue these, and that's where this baby piece of plywood comes in. I'm gonna cut a circular disc that's actually smaller than this circumference, one that can be E6000 glued to this one, and then we can E6000 glue the top one right onto it. And we will have a little bit of a gap, but then my plan there is to spackle in that small gap. That said, these are obviously light, so to keep the center of gravity strong, we are going to put heavy material inside this before we E6000 glue on the top. Now, as much as the 2000s are back, we are not gonna keep this pattern on the table, of course. I had a lot of ideas of how to get a cool pattern onto this. I was like, maybe we can spray paint it and then stencil over it. And I realized that, girl, if I hand paint this on, it's gonna look real dollar store real quick. And then I had a brilliant idea. Wait for it. Fabric. It is like almost the exact print that I was inspired by anyways. And so our plan here is to use this fabric and very fancy outdoor exterior Mod Podge. So that is the plan. And let's see how it goes. Step 1, I'm going to be safe this time. So we are gonna use clamps and we're gonna make sure everything's very secure so that I can jigsaw out the little circular wood disc. Safety. Woohoo! To cut the fabric to size, I wanna make kind of a simple template. This isn't going well. Okay, I kind of figured it out. This is kind of similar to wrapping a pastry bag. I slightly angled the sides, and then that way they overlap nicely. And luckily, I did not feel confident about this project, so I ordered a ton of this fabric to make mistakes with. I did make sure to wash and dry the fabric because you should always do that if you're working with fabric because it shrinks if it gets wet and then dry. I want to make sure that the pattern is going the right way, which is like up and down. And I also want it to be as similar as possible so that when I line them up, the patterns perfectly match. Ooh. Of course, we're also going to wrap this in fabric, so I'm just gonna cut that fabric right now. So I have just perfectly rolled this, ensuring that everything is facing the right way, and I'm just gonna go in with Mod Podge now. By the way, this is a great hack for if you ever want to like add a little pattern to your bar stools or a little side table, Mod Podging fabric onto it, instant personality, babe. I'm a freaking genius. It's straight. Have you ever seen anything more beautiful in your life? So I'm gonna set these to dry for 30 minutes. And now I'm gonna go back in with more Mod Podge. I made a very bold choice, and this fabric is not cotton, it's not canvas, it's actually flannel. Do you guys hear the hounds in the back? Okay. Just eating one of my victims. I'm gonna take a sponge brush and I'm just gonna dab the glue across. You can see it goes on kind of opaque and then of course dries clear. Alrighty guys, it's day 2, the boys are back in town, and it is time to do our next coat of Mod Podge. So now these are all precariously balanced and drying. And now it's time to construct the pedestal base for the table. This is easy, I'm just gonna cover this in E6000 and pop it on the base. Now what's really important is that we line these designs up as symmetrically as possible so that it looks like it matches. And then remember that we need something to weight this down. And what are we gonna use? A plastic bag full of sand. I think that's called a sandbag. Wow, it worked. Before I put the tabletop on, I want to make sure that when I put the tabletop on, it is perfectly centered. So I used a ruler to draw a cross mark section. You guys know measurement is not my thing. So I'm just gonna use this thin foam craft tape and I'm gonna just shove it in there all the way around. Ooh. And now I am gonna put the sandbag back in. Spread that around evenly to make sure that this is compressed when I put the spackle in. And you know what, for more weight, let's just bury a bunch of broken ceramics in the middle. Okay, I was kidding about the glass, but I just wanna say that some jokes aren't worth it because I am actually bleeding now. Okay, I'm gonna get a Band-Aid now. Can you believe that of all the unsafe things I have done on this channel, it was a stupid ceramic plate that got me. Ugh. And now it is time to spackle, and this spackle looks a little old, but we are not ageist on this channel. I totally forgot I meant to use painter's tape to ensure that I wouldn't get spackle on the outside. Okay, so while we're waiting for things to dry, I'm also going to line the inside of the top with a little bit more foam. This lip actually should have some decent hold, but if I can just have a little bit extra material that has E6000 on it for it to cling to, you know, it would just be great. It would just be good, I think. Now, while we wait for the spackle to dry, squirrels, can we please have quiet on the set? We are actually going to gold leaf the side of the tabletop. What? Who? Us? Yes. And if you haven't done gold leaf before, it is so fun and so messy, and it makes you feel like a French tyrant. Oh, and I'm also gonna tape a little bit around the rim of the top so that the gold leaf doesn't spill too much over onto the tabletop. So if you've never done gold leaf, it is a 3-step process. Number 1, you have your basic glue, and it looks like milky white, a magic elixir. So you paint this on, and you wait, and it gets a little bit tacky, and it is dried clear. So it is time to put our beautiful gold leaf on. So thin. I mean, it's literally just wisping in the wind. And you just take it and you just stick it on, and you press it in, and that's it. All right, so that maybe took 15 minutes. And now we are gonna go back in and over with the, do you see them? So now we're gonna go back over with metal leaf sealer. Alrighty, our spackle has dried, so now I'm just gonna take a super fine sandpaper, this is 400 grit, and I'm just gonna sand and smooth it out, and then we are going to gold leaf that as well. Cool. Did you realize what was gonna happen the minute I put the setting glue on? The spackle absorbed it because it's what spackle does, but it's a little bit tacky now, the spackle itself. So I think that if I can just press the foil into that and seal over that, and then it all dries beautifully, I think we can save ourselves. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Think we're gonna work. By the way, it does take a couple weeks for the Mod Podge to totally cure. So I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna let it cure for like 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna follow up with an acrylics top coat. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and seal this. I'm gonna E6000 the tabletop on top. So I say let's just go ahead and cut to your final reveal. So guys, I hope you enjoy that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't ever let anybody tell you that trash cans cannot be tables.